All right, y'all. So I was listening to a reel earlier, and just the conversation around it was really good. And I feel like it's a nice opportunity for us to revisit and remind ourselves. And the speaker was talking about the difference between confidence and arrogance. And let me ask. Let me pose a question. What is your take? What do you think the difference between confidence and arrogance is? Confidence versus arrogance. I'd love to hear your take because I love the way that he framed it.
Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady, I would say, pretty arrogant, and Patrick, I think, is pretty confident.
Why would you say that? What do you think? Why would you say that? Does Tom
He
Brady
just,
not have the actual accolades and the results of somebody
oh,
who's earned it?
he's got it, but I think he comes off to me. I think that's why a lot of people hate him or hated him. Rather, to me, he always came off arrogant.
Do as many people love Patrick Mahomes right now, or is it just personal?
Eh, I don't think it's Patrick. I think it's the refs.
I don't know. You could look at some other channels, but that's interesting. Okay, what else?
I think
What are some other definitions do you think would separate the differences between the two?
I
I want to.
think
Oh, good.
confident. Oh, sorry, yeah. I think
That's fine.
confidence is like the belief in your ability that you can do something, right? So I think it's very personal. I think arrogance is that same belief, but you involve other people, right? So your ability to do something better than other people.
Okay, I like that.
I
Rochelle,
think, oh,
that's
go
all
ahead.
right.
I was just gonna say, I would like how people view you. So, like like confidence. Like I would, if somebody is confident, I'm going to take. I want to learn from them, right? I'm going to actually want to like have them guide me. Where if somebody's arrogant, I'm not. So my definition is the way I view the people. Does that make sense?
So yeah, so let's go a little bit deeper in that. And like, so how does someone who is exhibiting confidence show up for you? And how does somebody who is exhibiting arrogance or how you view them different than the other person?
Um, do you mean how will they help me, or how I
Who
might
do you
choose
choose?
them?
Yeah, you said the confidence is someone I choose to follow, and somebody who's arrogant is otherwise. So like what
I,
specifically is different between the two for you?
I think maybe how they portray their what they're trying to explain to you. Like, I guess a good example is like two realtors. Like, you could have the more personable, like really getting to know your realtor, or the salesperson. Like, to me, this is the confident, nice, personal person, and the salesy one who's just trying to vomit stuff at you is the one I. Does that make sense?
Sure. Hey, there's no right or wrong here. I'm just taking a poll. I find this conversation really interesting, right? Because I think there is a very big distinction, and I think sometimes we might. Well, how do I say this? Um, it goes back to the term like people used to say, "Fake it till you make it," which I don't like that phrase, and I think we've talked about it on the call. Like, it's not fake it till you make it, right? Because if you really, but like if you understand that our life's a constant journey of leveling up, and oftentimes we have to sometimes step into a level that we haven't like we're the beginner in that level, and yet it's taking on the activities and the behavior of that level sometimes before it's natural or internal. So it's not about faking it. I always like to reframe it as like face it till you make it. And what is making it, if you will, right? So uh, let me just kind of dive into the definition that the guy shared. He said, confidence is an internal belief, is a grounded um, calmness or a groundedness that's based off of results, based off of experience, and based off repetition. So I was listening to this one sports guy was talking about when he was playing for the Denver Broncos, and he said it didn't matter what the status was of the game, how far we were behind. When Elway came into the huddle, he had a calmness because of his confidence. And at any point when he came into the huddle, the energy that he had was, we got him right where we want him. Whether they were down by 14, whether they were down by nothing. They always come in and they go, no matter what the time is on the clock, no matter what the situation is, we got it. Like I keep going into like, I don't like flying. And so like anytime the plane bounces even like a little bit, I feel like the wings are falling off, especially like these days, right? Like this isn't fun. But like if the like I always look at the flight attendants, and if they're chill, I'm chill. But I'm watching them, and if they look surprised and they kind of like look at each other, like if one looks at the other and goes WTF, I'm like, we're gonna die. We're gonna die. But if they're chill, I'm chill. And the pilot comes on and he goes, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. We got a couple bumpity bumps here. We're gonna be blah, 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 blah. And they just talk like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're good, right? There's a confidence, right? So confidence is an internal belief. Arrogance is external, based off of fear. External, based off of inadequacy. It's attempting to show up in such a way without result. The arrogance is manufactured, like manufactured confidence is arrogance. And when I think about the differences between leadership and confidence and then arrogance and salespeople, is true leaders listen and observe. Confidence is calm. Confidence asks questions. Confidence is quiet. Arrogance, insecurity, screams, talks, attempts to validate through over talking, through overselling, over pitching, over like, and you can see, like, I go into certain rooms and I like, I always try to put myself in rooms where I'm like literally the newest guy there, where I know nothing. And I sit. And I remember about 7 years ago when I was invited to become a member of a pretty cool team of coaches that got to travel around the country. I remember going to our first coaches training, and there were 55 of us in the room, and there were like 8 or 12 new guys. And there was an individual that just kept talking, kept participating, if you will. And what was interesting is the leader of the room took a second and kind of made an example of that individual. And they said, are you trying to contribute, or are you trying to validate yourself? Why do you keep talking? Are you looking to contribute to the conversation? Are you moving the conversation forward? Or are you just trying to get points? Like, why don't you? And he says, you're in the room. Just listen for now. And the rest of us are like, it reminds me of a quote or a snippet. Simon Sinek said that there was a Fortune 500 company that the executives, whenever these new executives would come in and they'd go into these meetings, there was a rule that if you were a new executive in this company, you actually weren't allowed to speak for the first 2 months in these meetings. Not because they didn't value what you had to say, but because they understood that everyone is so nervous that they want to like speak up and validate why they're there, as opposed to just like believing and understanding, hey, you deserve to be here. Listen, just participate, listen, see how things go, ask questions. You don't have to prove to us that you deserve to be here. So just relax, just listen, right? So confidence versus arrogance. Why do I bring this up? There's a lot of times that we're encountering different individuals, circumstances, situations. Maybe sometimes you're going to be meeting with a high net worth individual, maybe like, et cetera. And what level of calmness and confidence are you bringing to the chaos? Would you agree that every transaction is different and all of them can get a little wonky? Our clients are looking for what? They're looking for someone to lead. They're looking for someone to bring a calming force. They're looking for confidence, not arrogance. They're not looking for somebody to be blustery and say, oh, we're going to nail them. We're going to take everything off the table. We're going to make sure we get this thing. We're going to get a deal. Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. We're going to win. Like, they don't need that. They want somebody going, all right, we're about to hit some bumps, but here's what's going to happen. In about a few minutes, we're going to do this, and then we got these options and these choices, and this is what we're going to do, right? So how do you gain confidence, especially as you're continuing to level up into each level? There's only one way. It's through repetition. Repetition breeds competency, right? Competency is results through effort, results accumulated over time. And when you've done enough reps, and there's no bypassing or escaping the reps. Who is the quarterback for Washington? What's his name? Does anybody remember the name of the quarterback for Washington Commanders?
Daniels.
Okay. Did you hear that little snippet about when he was in college, that what the college did with the VR headsets?
Mm-mm.
So check this out. His college created a VR headset simulator and could put in the other team's plays or the other team's defenses, and he could run their plays against the defense's plays and see how the defenses would respond and react. And he would watch it through a VR headset as if he was in the game. But what he would also do is he would run it at 2x speed. So he would run the plays twice as fast as normal, and he would have every week, he'd have thousands of more repetitions against the other team than the other team. And he's been running it at 2x speed. So when he was in the game, it was as if everything went to slow motion. Repetition breeds competency. Competency breeds confidence. Confidence creates calmness. And he's able to come in at any point in the game and say, guys, we got him right where we want him. It doesn't matter how much time's left. 13 seconds is enough to win a championship. We know that. If you're in Kansas City, you know that. If everybody else gets to just like read about it. So how do you gain competency? If like for listing appointments, buyer presentations, there's only one way. It's practice. It's scripting and role playing. And I know some of you, as soon as I said that, you're like, here we go again. But that's it. It's the difference between good and great. It's the difference between part-time, full-time. It's the difference between casual and crushing it. How many reps do you get before game time? Or are you practicing on your paycheck? Are you developing your competency when the stakes are too high? That's the wrong time. Share with me some of your thoughts. What are you hearing here? And how can you set yourself up to get way more reps before the game? And are you practicing with people better than you, or are you practicing with nobody just to validate your thinking that you're better than you might be? What rooms are you putting yourself into? How purposeful are you practicing?
I think you always need to be learning, no matter how long you've been in the business. Always be learning so that you can always be more confident. And don't always think you're better than anybody else, no matter how much you have been in, how long you've been in the business, or how much you've done in real estate. I think that's where so many agents, even there's newer agents, I've seen them be so arrogant that they're like, they think they know it all.
Yeah, and that's insecurity. That's fear.
Ego.
Yeah, it's insecurity. It's fear, and oftentimes that's just what's been exhibited by the people that they look up to, and so they think that that's the way to lead, and that's the way to be a leader is by bullying, by steamrolling, by taking it all, and that's not it.
I think sometimes we also have to take a moment and listen to what the other person is saying. And that's hard to do sometimes when you're in that type of situation. But if you don't stop and listen, you don't always know what problem is.
That's 1,000%. If you're talking and selling, you're not listening, right? And what happens is if we don't practice and we're not confident in our presentation and in the process, we sell because we need to validate why we're there versus being confident that we've got the right questions, we have the right process. We know first we're going to talk about this, and then we're going to go to this. Do you have any questions? Perfect. Then we're going to go to this. Does this make sense? Excellent. Then we're going to go to here. Perfect. Now, based on everything you saw and everything you heard, really the only thing left is to decide when do you want to get started. And then listen for the objections or the resistance and say, perfect. Okay, so other than that, is there any other reason why we wouldn't get started right away? Well, let's have a quick conversation. Let me ask you if there's this and this and then this and this. And so does that make sense? Yeah, perfect. So does that change your thought process? Should we get started right away? Do you see the benefit or like whatever it is? See, when you know what the top 5, top 6, top 7 objections are, and you're prepared with 2, 3, or 4 versions of each, and you've practiced them so often and enough that they're just natural, they're just you can go in any situation, not sweat. I can go into any appointment right now with anybody. Most agents. I've had thousands and thousands of appointments with agents to talk about their business and having conversations considering to make a move. And I don't think there's anything anybody can say that I haven't heard. And so I'm not worried about what they say next. I'm more worried about, can I help you? Are we a fit? Are you a cultural match? Do you get it? Do you see the opportunity? And are you smart enough? Right? That's a joke, but it's not, right? Because we don't sell.
I don't think it's necessarily, are you smart enough? Are you asking, like you said, are you asking the right questions?
Exactly. And that's where confidence and the calmness comes in. You have the ability, you have the opportunity to be able to ask those questions. So what's your take? How can you modify what your day and your week looks like in order to get yourself to the position of it doesn't matter what scores on the scoreboard or what time's on the clock, we got them right where we want them.
One of my favorite things about the team I was previously on is that we script and role played every day. And it was just a short snippet of something, right? You know, an extra 10 minutes or whatever to go through and role play, but it really did prepare you for the conversations you were about ready to have that day.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun to role play with other agents that were going to throw out different objections that they were seeing as well. So I think one of the best things that you can do is start taking note of the objections you are getting and then work on scripting, like start with just scripting those objections out, pulling it from your brain.
Oh, yeah. Other thoughts? What are you hearing?
Let's see. I would say for me, most recently, so I'm getting through the book, 10x is easier than 2x. And I'm pretty sure you recommended that book in here on one of the calls. But yeah, so diving into that book, really makes you question what it is that you're doing, right? The things you choose to do, the things that, you think are furthering your business or, doing this and that. And the whole concept of the book, right, is focusing on, just the 20% and the things that are actually going to get you right to where you want to go. And I know we've talked about like on coaching calls, right? Like, am I busy or am I productive? Different things like that. So setting up my calendar and even to the point where it's like, okay, I have 3 main things, right? That as long as I accomplish these 3 things, the rest of my day can be whatever it is, right? If I hit those 3 things, then I'm confident enough that I'm doing the right thing and that my business is going to go where, I want it to be. So as of late, just been, the night before saying, okay, these are the 3 things that I hit my 3 things today. And then the next day, and then I'm setting up for the next day. Okay, the next day I need to hit these 3 things no matter what. And as long as I hit those, the rest of my day is fine. I know I'm doing okay. If I don't do anything else the rest of the day, I know I'm going to be fine and get to where I want to be. So I think that is helping build that confidence of, for me, it's always been, am I doing enough? Am I doing the right things? Um, am I doing too much? And so this is giving me that confidence to not only take the pressure off because I know three things is all I need to do, and I know they're the right three things. Um, I'm headed in that right direction.
Anyone here have their pilot's license on the call? Anyone? Okay, great analogy, Matt. In order to get your pilot's license, they have to have a certain amount of hours of flying, not reading about flying, not practicing air traffic control talk, not like checklists, not presentations. They have to have butt and seat hours. Do you have enough hours doing the most important things? Having conversations, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. That's it. What are the main things? Generating opportunities through conversations, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. That's it. Those are your hours. How many hours do you need to get your license? Well, the barrier of entry is obviously different in our world, and it's probably lower than it could be or should be. And yet, at the end of the day, everybody has the same opportunity to go pro. Final thoughts. Anyone else? Last minute.
It's funny you bring that up. I was talking to my sister, who's also a real estate broker in Arizona. She was telling me that in order to get your real estate license in Canada, it takes 1 year. 1 year of education you have to go through before you're even eligible to get your license.
Yeah.
I wonder how many agents we would have in the U.S. if that was the barrier to entry.
Yeah, great question.
I think it was so much. There were so many more reps you got if you're in the business from 2020 to 2019 to 2022. You had so many more reps you could write.
Yeah.
You wrote there was 8 offers on every house, so you could you got
you got real good at writing offers.
Yeah, and I mean negotiating sometimes. I mean now you can negotiate for more things, but now new agents, I feel for them because they don't get as many in-person reps with buyers as you could back then. But
yeah. So how do you replicate that? How do you duplicate that environment with somebody that's new? Like if you're bringing somebody into the world, how do you give them the same opportunity to catch up quick?
that's something to brainstorm.
Yeah. It's okay. Like if somebody's on my team, say, perfect. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to write 15 offers. I'm going to give you 15 properties. You're going to write 15 different offers, and I'm going to give you a different scenario for each one. And then you're going to get the counter, come back, counter, all the things. You've got to recreate, like you've got to create almost a simulation environment so that whenever you're in that environment, you as an agent understand and know how to bring those solutions to the table. Because, if the consumer's coming in and they're super nervous and all they hear about is multiple offers and this and that, and you can say, hey, listen, so here's what's going on in our market. We've got all of these different options that are available to you. And when it's time, we're going to go through each and every one. And I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of using one versus the other. Here's what we've done in the past. It's enabled our clients to win. At the end of the day, it's still going to be your choice. So we've done this a lot. The people on my team have done this a lot. You're in great hands. Even if you haven't done a lot, the people that I work with that are helping me, consulting with me and working with me through this, we're going to get this, right?
Definitely.
Awesome, guys. So keep in mind, if you catch yourself talking and selling too much, you may be attempting to validate an insecurity as opposed to just take a second, ask more questions, listen. Confidence is calm, curious, and ask questions. Take care, guys. Have an amazing week. Go crush. See you Wednesday.
See ya.